right. Good morning, everyone. We are continuing on the topic of database mastery. So we're going to be finishing off the rest of that this week. So let's continue to pick up with where we left off. We are having, of course, a lighter crowd today. No worries. We're going to go ahead and pick up with where we were at last week. And I'm sure realtors being realtors will eventually show up. But let's go ahead and talk about database, the importance of this. How do we master this? How do we get to a place where we can definitely get to that next level? Again, my name is Robert Villanueva. This is MIT Millionaires in Training. All right, so let's go over database. Let's make sure we are on the same page. What is database? I'm going to get to the very end of it, but let me go through a very, very quick Database again. Unfortunately, the mistake that realtors make is a lot of times this ideology of the accumulation of all of these people that have come across our paths, whether it's a sign call, it is an ad call, whether it is just somebody that you knocked on their door, all these people that you collected from open houses. This is not what I'm referring to. I'm referring to the organic version of that. Your past clients, family, friends, associates, people we do business with out in the community. Think of dentist, doctor, lawyer, dry cleaners, nail salon, barber, dog sitter, all of these people. And then the fifth one is our vendors. That's the people that help us in our real estate industry. Escrow, attorney, lender, title, home warranty, plumber, roofer, all of those people. You put them on an Excel spreadsheet, you put them from top to bottom. I'm going to ask of you to do is one more step, and that's going to be separating the husband and the wives as two separate entries where possible. Okay, if you don't have a relationship with them, I don't expect you to do that. But if you do have a relationship with both spouses or both partners, I'm going to encourage you to separate those. It gives us the opportunity to just be able to capitalize more. There's also the rule of 10. What's the rule of 10? The rule of 10 basically puts you in a position where you should be looking at, you take a look at that Excel spreadsheet, you look at the very bottom and you see that there's 432 people on this list. You're going to take 10%, multiply that number. And in this particular case, if I'm working with a client that has 432 people on that list, well, my expectation is that they should be able to capitalize 40, 45 deals from this particular source. Is it possible? Absolutely. Okay. This is one of the things that I've had the good fortune of making 26 millionaires out of, especially when it comes time to this source. And why so? Because every single last agent in our industry, not 5%, not 10%, not 80%, but 100% of the agents have an area of opportunity in this particular source. When we get to source number 2, that second source, it now becomes completely different because somebody else's second source could be open house, could be Zillow, could be social media, could be all kinds of everythings. But every single last person has a source. So it is vital, it is important that we do find ourselves in a position where we're capitalizing and maximizing on this. Some of the basic things that I have talked about the entire month, just to make sure that we are on the same page to capitalize that 10%, we need to call them 4 times a year. 4 times a year. You're also going to email them. You're also going to mail them 4 times a year. Okay, this is bare minimum. This isn't just do this, but at the very least, if you're doing anything, this is what you're doing. 4 times a year, that's basically every quarter. So every quarter, there are 3 months. And in 3 months, average business days in a month is 20. Average business days in a month is 20. 20 plus 20 plus 20, that's 60. What's this now, 60? We're going to take that number 60, divide that into 432. Why do we do this? Because in this particular case, that's going to give us a number of 7 point something or other. What does that number mean? That represents the number of people we need to contact every single day so that we can go ahead and reach everybody over the course of an entire quarter. Okay, so over an entire quarter. So now I equip you with those 2 numbers. Number 1 is that 10%, so you know what that target is. And then number 2 is that basically the rule of 60. And that rule of 60, why does it apply? Well, because that person's 432 eventually becomes 512, which becomes 667, which becomes, 942. So now we need to make sure we're constantly making those adjustments. Any questions that I can address? Anything that I can take care of before I continue on my point so that we can finish off this particular source for the rest of the month? Anybody have any questions?
That calculation, I think I just need to see it in writing or see it in the chat or see it somewhere because it's like...
No, let's do it like this. Here, let me walk you through it. It's very simple. So Monica, go ahead and grab your phone, go to your contacts.
Okay.
And on your contacts, I want you to scroll all the way at the very bottom. Give me that number.
5,737.
Okay, that is astronomical. So here's what we end up doing. just for the simplicity of what I'm asking of you to do, again, just the simplicity of this, you're going to take that number, you're going to cut it in half,
Okay.
just for the sake of what we're trying to accomplish here very quickly. We're going to take that, that's going to give us right around 26, 27, 2800. Are we on the same page?
Yes, we are.
Okay, so now you're going to take that 2800, you're going to divide that by 60. That 60, that's going to give you 46 contacts. Okay, that's how many conversations you need to have a day. That's unrealistic. That's not going to happen. So
Okay.
what I'm going to ask of you to do, this reminds me of a good client of mine that I coached, Mr. Luke Johnson here, probably about a good 4 or 5 years ago. He had a very, very similar number. I said, Luke, don't worry about it. We got to start. How do we eat an elephant? One bite at a
By the
time.
time.
Yeah, exactly. So not everybody has 5,000. Almost everybody I speak with are in that 3, 4, 5, 600 range. But it doesn't matter, Monica. What I want you to do is I want you to download every single one of those people on a CSV file. Just YouTube it. It's very simple. You go through, you download it, it puts it on an Excel spreadsheet for you.
Gotcha.
Now, of that 5,000 and change, here's what's going to happen. You're going to go through it and you're going to be like, oh my gosh, I got ABC Pharmacy, I got Apple Computers, I got, I have all of these
Yeah.
companies. You're just going to go through, you're going to cross them out, 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 cross them out. And then finally you come across the very first person. And awesome, you give that person a call. Then you keep going. Another company, personal. There we go. Give that person a call. Then another business contact. I'm not going to call a fellow agent right down the street. Makes no sense. Another agent, another company. There's another person. Boom, there's one of my past clients. You're going to take that 5,000 and change, and you're going to now have a filtered version after going through it one time. Does that make
Mhm.
sense?
Yes.
Okay. So this, what I just described, that's not going to happen in a day. It's not even going to happen in a week. It's not even going to happen over the course of a month. It's going to take you some time. I'm hoping it doesn't take you as long as it took Luke. It took him 2 years to go through this entire thing. But here's what happened. What ended up happening is he took that 5,000 and change and he ended up turning it into about 2,400. Wasn't done. Because that 2,400, when he went through it a second time, became 1,800, which is a good thing because now it's a filtered version. And then eventually he got to the point where it started becoming to about 1,200 people. And if we now take that number 60 and divide that into 1,200, that now becomes very manageable, doing simple math here. And that gives us 20 contacts. That is a lot of conversations throughout a day, but is it manageable?
Yeah.
Absolutely. Okay.
Yeah.
So in that case with Luke, he was a very, very good producer. He still is a very good producer. He was doing probably about 20, 25 deals from his database. And what ended up happening with Luke, because we went after with what I just mentioned, he went from about 25, 30 deals to eventually 67 deals. Wasn't getting that 10%, but he still was able to double this one source while continuing to build that momentum. Does that make sense now?
Awesome. Thank you.
You're welcome. All right. So I am speaking a little bit fast because, of course, we're doing a little bit of recap. So I appreciate the question from that, Monica. But this is something that I'm going to encourage you to go through, break down. When do we start? You just have to. It doesn't matter. Today, don't wait till Monday. The best place to start is always today. Okay. Don't start on someday because someday does not exist. That's what I'm going to ask of you guys. But let's go ahead and move on. Let's go ahead and talk about with where I wanted to finish off for the rest of the database mastery. Let's bring up a couple of points and then we'll jump into some role play. So it is important that we do jump into that. The reason why we don't call our database, remember, it's one of two reasons. Number one is our ego, and our ego shows up in so many different aspects. Number two is that of not knowing what to say, which in a sense is really our ego. So our ego is a big, big reason why we don't call them. It doesn't even matter, even if it's not organized. I don't care. Go down the phone and just literally one person at a time, extract. One person at a time, extract. One person, remove, extract, remove, extract, remove. Oh, there we go. There's add. Let's go ahead and add that. And you just keep going down that list. Okay. Add, subtract, add, subtract, subtract, subtract. You just keep going down that list. But the most important part of that is we have to be consistent. So you've got to get over your ego. Learn what to say, which is what we're working on here. This is important. Okay. And we're going to be finishing this up in two days. So on Thursday, we're done with this. We're not going to talk about it for another 5 or 6 months. So I'm going to encourage you to work on this on your own at a later and or separate time based on everything we've talked about. Now, what we also want to do is we want to get to a point where we build some version of a pattern. because a good percentage of the times what we'll do is we'll go through, we'll open escrow, we'll get an offer accepted, we get, representing the seller, we get that offer accepted, we go through the process of closing the transaction, we get the transaction closed, congratulations, we end up taking these selfies, we post them on social media, awesome, another just sold, and then we lose connection with them. We don't speak to them 3 months, 6 months, a year, 2 years. We don't want to do that. So we want to build a system almost immediately. My question is, how soon should we be asking for referral business? ASAP. The moment you sign a contract. All we need to do now is simply sign the contract. So how many guys get down to San Diego before springtime? Won't that be great? Perfect. Go ahead and sign right there. Congratulations. I'm really looking forward to getting you guys over to San Diego before I leave here today. Who else do you know of? Boom, right there. Same thing when it comes time to buyers. Congratulations. Just want to let you know your offer's been accepted. We are going to be going through the process of closing out this transaction. We're going to go through escrow, whatever state you're in. And in that, my question to you is, who do you know that is also looking to purchase or considering and possibly selling? You got to start that right away. And then you start building that momentum. Okay, because if you're waiting for the perfect opportune time, it just isn't going to come together. So Lizette, I don't know if you wanted to add anything to what we're talking about this morning.
No, I think you broke it down as far as the amount that you need to be calling every day. I think that does need to be slowed down just a little bit. So just yeah, thankful for Monica's question on that.
Sure. Yeah, absolutely. Again, for those of you guys that are here, I want to make sure we're on the same page. Let me just break this down again. Who are the people? Past clients, family, friends, associates, and vendors. You take that list, you put them on an Excel spreadsheet. You multiply that by 10%. That's your target. Robert says I should be getting whatever that 10% number is. You look at what you did last year. Did you get that? 99.99% of the time, I'm going to get a response of no, I'm not. I'm getting 4%. I'm getting 5%. I'm getting 7%. I'm doing really good. I'm getting 8%. In the 15 years I've been coaching, there hasn't been one person that has actually said, yes, I'm getting 10%, because there's always room for opportunity. Now, in that, the way we attack that again is that number of 60. Now, the reason I equip you with that number of 60, you're going to divide that same number of people by 60, because in that number is going to change. So in Monica's case, right now we came up with a number of 60 based on 2,500 or 5,000 some hundred and some people, right? It's ridiculous. It's just virtually impossible to go and have 50 conversations a day. But what we're going to do is we're going to go through and we're going to scrub that entire list. And every time we go through this round, you're going to take that number 60 and you can divide it into the number of people you have on your database list, because that's going to give you the number of people you have to have a conversation with every single day. Not every other day, not once a week, not ever so often, every single day. That's what's going to keep you on track. Okay. Now, again, for those of you guys that are here joining us, I did get the good fortune of speaking to 2 groups yesterday. So thank you for having me again. NAREP South Bay and LA. I appreciate you guys having me yesterday. And of course, we always have Century 21 Realty Masters. So if you guys are joining us for the first time here, just wanted to say thank you for having me. It's definitely an honor and a pleasure to be in your office and with your group. So let's go ahead and look at the role play side of this, because this is the whole entire purpose of what we're doing here. So I'm going to go ahead and share a script here. I'm going to go over a very quickly a couple of different scripts, and then we'll get into a role play. So let me go ahead and share the script. All right, so the first script we're looking at, we're not going to role play this one. I just want to make sure, I'm just going to do a very quick recap, okay, because we only have 3 days this week, 2 more after this one to go over this. This is the database intro script. Who is this for? This is for the newer agent. So if you're a brand new agent or a newer agent in the industry, this is a great way to establish that initial connection. Number 2, the agent that just changed brokerage. Okay, you were at ABC, now you're at XYZ. This is a great way to do that introductory. Okay, the next one, for all of my real estate friends that are out there that unfortunately have lost connection, and everything that I just gave as an example, you closed the deal and it's now been 3 years, you haven't spoken to these people, or your friends or your family, or all of these people that you just haven't really put this whole entire system together, just reconnect with them. It's nothing more than just rekindling that relationship and just reaching out. Lizette, hey, it's Robert. How are you doing? Great. I just want to check in, see how you're doing. How's life? How's everything? I wanted to recommit to you, and let's get back on track. That's basically the script. Now, there's also another script, which is the fourth script, and that's the adoption script. What's the adoption script? Well, if you find yourself in constantly in or newer environments, think of, for example, having children and playing sports. All of a sudden, you get exposed. My background is baseball. All of a sudden, you get exposed to a baseball team, and now you have 10, 12, 15 different families, and you have 15, 20, 25 different new people that you haven't met before. You can adopt them immediately, okay, by simply using this script. Or you can even adopt people. Say, for example, you're part of Chamber of Commerce, you are PTA, you are your children are in athletics, you are part of now a yoga club, you are whatever. It doesn't matter. If you're in a new area, a new group, you can adopt these people immediately. Boom, here we go. An instant 5, 10, 15, 20 people. Our goal is to continue to grow this. We don't want to stay stagnant. The example that I gave with Monica, what we're trying to do is, of course, create a filtered version of it, but the goal is eventually to grow it, not to dummy it down. Now, last but not least, this is a script, which is the most important script, and that is, of course, the maintenance script. Okay, so the maintenance script is the call we're going to be making on call number 2, number 3, number 5, number every single last thing, thereafter. The only thing I'm going to say is just make sure that we are understanding that I do not want you to exceed 10 minutes on any of the calls. I don't care which call it is. Do not exceed more than 10 minutes. Why is that the case? Because unfortunately, we find ourselves in a position where we get on the phone, we haven't spoken to people 2, 3, 5, 7, 10, 15 years, and you're sitting there talking up a storm 20, 25, 45 minutes later, and you go, oh my gosh, that was awesome. I am so happy that I reconnected with Lisette. Man, that was an awesome call. And you look at your phone and it was 42 minutes. That was cool. Here's the problem. The next time I go and give Lisette a call, which is in 3 months from now, Lisette's going to look at her phone and go, I really don't want to talk to her for another 40 minutes. I mean, it was great catching up with him, but yeah, I really don't want to be that long on the call with him. So we always want to make sure that we do keep it absolute max. Okay, 10, absolute max. My average, to clarify, Monica, as you're typing, was 4 minutes. Okay. My average was about 4 minutes. So don't exceed 10 minutes. My average was about 4 minutes. Okay. So in Monica's case, let's say even 5 minutes. Yeah, absolutely. I do expect of you to be prospecting. I mean, what else are we going to do? I would prospect 6 to 8 hours a day. So based on the example that I just gave you, Monica, yeah, absolutely. It's going to take 2 or 3 hours for you to go through the entire list. Skills, prospecting, lead follow-up. That's 80% of our day, 80% of our day. So if you're putting in 10 hours, yeah, 6 to 8 hours is what I'm expecting of you to do in a version of those 3 things. Okay. So it is something that I mean, if you want to get to the next level, if you don't, and again, this isn't specific to you, Monica, but if you don't make those necessary changes, that's why we continue to be stagnant. All right, let's work on some skills. So enough of me. Let's get some role play in. Who wants to be the first person to go? Give it a crack at it. There we go.
Ahead.
Okay.
Go ahead.
Awesome. Thank you. Let's give it a whirl.
Okay. Ring, ring.
Hello.
Hello. Robert?
Uh-huh.
Hey, this is Deborah Patton, your realtor.
Hey,
How are you doing?
I'm doing well, thank you.
Good. I wanted to borrow you for a few minutes. You have a couple of minutes?
I do. What's going on?
Hey, I wanted to give you a real estate update. I was calling all my friends and family and great past clients to let them know about the interest rates. My question to you is simple. Who do you know that is needing this type of information?
Well, yeah, I mean, the interest rates have gotten a little bit better. So I can't really think of anybody.
Okay, all right. Well, I appreciate you taking some time to think about it.
Mm.
How about someone from your neighbors?
I can't really think of any of my neighbors that are thinking about doing anything.
Okay, what about work?
Now that you mentioned it, I'm thinking about Joe Schmo. So we'll stop there. Okay. So thank you for volunteering. It's always appreciative. All right. So let me give you some feedback, Deborah. So first thing is in regards to when we're reaching out to these people, the value is we want to make sure we creating some level of excitement, some level of enthusiasm, something from you got to do this now. So let's go through. I'm going to roll reverse. I'll be the agent this time. Okay. So in this, you have 5 minutes for me. I can borrow.
Sure.
Awesome. I was calling all my friends, family, and of course, great past clients like yourself, just to let them know as to what's going on with the interest rates. Have you heard what's going on?
No, what's happening?
Well, the interest rates are the best that they've been in over 4 years now. And my question to you, though, Deborah, is who do you know that is needing this info, thinking about buying, selling, or maybe even considering an investing?
I can't think of anybody right now.
No, I can't think of anybody. All right. Well, hey, no worries. How about somebody from maybe from work?
Mm, no, I can't think of anybody, honestly.
Okay, yeah, no worries. And then what I'll do, so you see with what I did in terms of that transition. So then what I'll do, if you notice that I did separate, so I did update the scripts a little bit to help everybody. Now in this, can you think of somebody from work? No. How about any of your neighbors? I can't really think of anybody. How about anybody in the family? Not really. Well, hey, are you still bowling, by the way? Yeah, I am. Can you think of anybody there? Oh, yeah, that's right. I completely forgot about, John or whoever it is. Right. So, all right. Well, great job. Thank you for going, Deborah. Lizette, I don't know if you wanted to add anything. I don't know if you got tied up with something.
No, I guess my next thing would be to like how many are we just limiting it to four? My analytical brain, because it's like, okay, how many people from work? And then they're like, no, neighbors, no, family, no. You know what I mean? Like, do we just continue down the list?
Well, let's look at it from this perspective. You call basically a past client. Let's think of somebody that we just closed in the last year as an example. Name somebody that we closed in the last year.
Yep.
Okay, so here, very likely you're probably going to ask them one or two, and that's it. Maybe like anybody from work? No. Any of your neighbors? No. All right, cool. And then you move on. But if you go and call your sister, you're probably going to go work, neighbors, family, golf, Jay, this person, that person, over here, over there. So there is no rhyme or rhythm. It's ultimately going to be in regards to depending on your relationship with the person. Does that make sense?
Yeah, that makes sense.
Okay, so it's all your comfort. What I do want to make sure is we do, before we pick up the phone and give them a call, you do know who you're calling and with what other, besides just the typical work, family, neighbors, anybody from that direction. Now you can get the opportunity to be a little bit more specific. Okay, so that's what I want to make sure that we understand. So if you're calling somebody and you know that they're part of Rotary, hey, anybody from Rotary? If they're part of PTA, hey, anybody from PTA? So on and so forth. Monica, you want to volunteer or you had a question?
I have a question. I'm not a new agent, but I'm new at believing in scripts.
Okay.
So, is it safe to say that when you're reading this script, you could, and I'm asking because I believe that words are powerful. That's why I'm a kind of a new believer in scripts.
Mhm.
Is it okay on line 3 to say, everybody is sort of thinking of buying, selling, or investing at one point in time or another? Is that presumptuous, or is the goal to get them to answer the who do you?
Well, we have to remember what I'm getting at is this. What if I'm calling you Monica, I'm not looking at Monica doing something. I'm looking at Monica's 5,000 people that she knows if you know of any of those people that are doing something. So, and that's why we go through the different cycles of whether it's work, neighbors, family, or whatever that other source is. And as we get to know them, you call one of your good friends and she's part of PTA where you call Joe and he has no kids, no nothing, but he's a big golf addict. Well, you're going to go and talk to your friend about PTA as an example. Anybody from work? No. Any of your neighbors? No. Hey, how about somebody from PTA? I know you're a big part of that. And then you go call, your other friend Joe, who's a golfer. Like, hey, can you think of anybody from church? Big church person. And then how about anybody from your golf community? So what it does is it gives us the opportunity to just further expand. Now, going back to the other part of it, as far as the scripts is concerned, scripts is nothing more than a guideline. I want you guys to think of the scripts kind of like the bumpers in bowling. Okay. What that does is it keeps our conversation within the direction we're wanting to go. So initially, what I would encourage you to do, Monica, is call the people that are closest to you. So if I'm calling my sister and I'm, as an example, hey sis, it's Robert. Hey, I can really use your help. As you know, I've been doing real but I'm really trying to take it next level. And I'm working on how to speak better with my people. Can I borrow you for a second? I just want to go through. I want you to kind of give me a little bit of feedback. All right, awesome. All right, ready, sis? Okay, let's just kind of go through this. Okay, so ring, ring. Yeah, hey, Monica. Hey, it's Robert. You have a minute for me? Well, I was calling you as I was going through my phone and noticed you and I have not spoken in 4 years. Last thing I want to do is just send you some random text. How did that sound, sis? Do you see what I'm getting at?
I actually did this last week after I sat in your class. I
Awesome.
want to thank you because I actually did this. I called somebody and I was like, "Hey, we haven't spoken in a while," and we ended up having a brief conversation. It was like less than 3 minutes, but it was effective.
Yeah.
And I guess what I'm asking when it comes to hitting all of the points is, because I have been doing this a long time without a script, am I missing anything? I guess what I'm asking you is like, could I beef it up in a way that if I do touch on all of these things, or if I do hit or ask these questions, could I make these connections deeper and more meaningful so that I don't lose people?
So here's what I'm going to encourage from an overall aspect. Number one is just simply read it initially. Because what I want you to do is I want you to get it so embedded in you that when you start to add color, because the mistake that most people will make, Monica, is when they add too much color, too much Monica-ism in that, it devalues with what we're trying to accomplish
Exactly.
here.
That's what I'm asking.
Yeah, and what you think with which is you're helping, you're not, because you start to lengthen the conversation. It goes in the direction you don't want it to. You start to do more talking and less asking. So I want you to stick to the script as close to it as you possibly can. But here's what's going to happen. You're going to find yourself building a rhythm. And after 50, 75, 100 of these, you're going to add a little bit of a flavor. Now you're comfortable on the dance floor. You do a little shimmy on it. It's the same thing. And then by the time you get to that third and fourth round, you're like, I got this. And you don't even have to look at it anymore. So, but I do want you to read it and internalize it as close to with what's written there as much as possible. Okay.
Yeah, that's what I was asking earlier. I was wondering if there's like any psychology behind like saying the actual script. So I think you answered my question. I appreciate it.
Yeah, and in that, just to add, if we're not familiar with the what's known as NLP, that's neuro linguistic programming, it's embedded in here. And that neuro linguistic programming that's embedded in here, the moment that we go through and we start to shift it over, this doesn't quite sound like me, and we change it over, well, now you devalue the purpose of what we're trying to accomplish. Let me give you guys a quick little example. In one of the other scripts just listed, the very first question is, who do you know that is looking to make a move here in our neighborhood? Who do you know? Now, the answer can be so many different options. I don't know of anybody, maybe this person, blah, blah, blah. But a lot of times what realtors will do is they'll change the who do you know to can you think of someone? Now we only get two options, yes or no. And the likelihood is 98% of the time we're going to get a no. So I don't want you guys changing the scripts. Thank you for being here, and I'll see you guys on the next one. See you guys soon. Bye-bye.
Thanks, Robert.
You're welcome.